Welcome back to Keepin' It Comic, and today we're diving back into Ultimate Black Panther, both issue number 8 and number 9 here. Now in this one, we see that the Black Panther has a new power and has become more one with the vibranium suit. Khonshu has also found a way to unite the people against Wakanda, and we finally get to meet the ultimate Sorcerer Supreme. And listen, let me tell you, this person is going to be a major problem here. Now, for context here, jumping back to issue number 7, just to get you caught up really quickly. So T'Challa had found out from Matron Amala that vibranium was more than just metal, that in fact, vibranium is a living substance. So to try and understand what this means, he asks Killmonger and Storm to go find someone that will be able to help them discover the mysteries of vibranium, because he knows that both Khonshu and Ra already have an idea that vibranium is also more than it seems, as well as the new element that is the opposite of vibranium that both Ra and Khonshu currently hold in their possession. In addition to that, the Black Panther, in an attempt to win back the people of Africa who are beginning to turn their back on Wakanda to pledge allegiance to Khonshu, the Black Panther saved a group of African people who were captured by his soldiers and then made a public display with the help of Storm to show them that he was about that life, so to speak. So back now, when we jump into issue number 8, we pick up on this battle that Black Panther and Dora Milaje are charging into against Khonshu's army. Now, while they fight, there is a narration coming from the book of the goddess Bas while this entire fight is going on. And the words say how the Black Panther would lead his people to their better nature through tough times, violence, and despair. How to be careful not to harm other nations, not to have brother strike against brother, to let no righteous tear find the soil. How the Black Panther is her hand. He or she is to walk in her power, shield the people from their fear, endure their pain, and those who follow will mirror their virtue, calm spirit, grace, pride, and sentinel peace. Now, in the last phase of this battle here, the Black Panther comes up against one of Khonshu's biggest enemies, and he is given T'Challa a tough fight here. And in his final move, he stabs T'Challa with a sword that looks like it's been made from the new element that is the opposite of vibranium, that of course we know that Khonshu and Ra have. So the Khonshu warrior says, "Khonshu brings illumination. Receive it, blasphemer," talking to T'Challa. Now, in addition to this here, we see one more phrase from Boss's book that says, "They will see you, Panther, and you will be loved." Now, for Black Panther, this sword is starting to have an effect on him here. The sword is glowing with green light. That same light is surging through his body, and he is holding his head in agony as he screams. His suit also is starting to slowly come off of him as well. Then we go to the scene here where it looks like there's two worlds that are colliding together. This is a metaphor for most likely the vibranium and this new element that is in Africa. They both converge on Earth and they both land on Earth. Then we see T'Challa, who we see walking through what looks like a desert in what we can only assume is a vision or a dream. Now, in that dream, he stoops down to pick up a piece of vibranium. Now, this vibranium starts to glow, and as he starts to scream again, then he slowly begins to turn into an actual Black Panther. All of this, by the way, is very pathetic because Matron Amala said this very thing would happen in previous issues. Back in issue number 5, Matron Amala discussed how Black Panther will try to master with reason the power, referring to the power of vibranium and the new element, and how it will laugh at him. It will change him. He will beg for its change, but before its change, he will scream. The question now is, what change is she talking about? Well, let's take a look at that. So after Black Panther had changed into a Black Panther, we see him wake up in a monitoring room with Okoye by his bedside. It turns out that T'Challa had been unconscious for 7 days. Additionally, he wasn't just unconscious. Okoye said that he was crying and screaming, which prompted Okoye, as the queen, to lie to the people of Wakanda because she thought that he was going to die. So T'Challa explains to her that he was having visions, which she can't really explain. So Okoye shows them the Khonshu blade that they pulled from his body. She thinks it was poison, but T'Challa is like, nah, if it was poison, it definitely wasn't by them. And as he takes a sip of some water, he begins to tell her that he can feel it. So naturally, Okoye is like, feel what? So then he points her attention to the sword. He says he can feel it, as if though it could breathe. Additionally, he says that their technology, the vibranium, that it sings to him now. So he tells Okoye to pick up the sword and hold it outstretched. And when she does, he puts his arm out like he was summoning Thor's hammer. And then the sword does exactly what Thor's hammer would have done. The handle of the blade flies directly into T'Challa's hand. So then Okoye is asking, "You willed it to you?" But he responds, "No, I asked." And then he continues to say, "We have built a kingdom and a power that we do not understand. And until we truly understand vibranium, Khonshu has the advantage. Say nothing to anyone." So then later on here in issue number 9, speaking of Khonshu, we see him making a speech to the people out in West Africa. Now, his speech is centered around focusing on how much the people have struggled, how they live in a land with the most powerful resource, and they have never experienced the better life that they are entitled to, how they've been taken for granted, how in this vision, or his vision, I should say, they are seen and loved. There is no prejudice, but instead, he's invited them to a future that they deserve. Something that Wakanda has not done for them, how they hold the kingdom to themselves while the people have to suffer or have had to suffer. And he mentions how vibranium is more than just metal. See, he knows it too. It holds secrets to the cosmos, that inside of it is the truth to all things, how that power could be theirs, but he first needs their loyalty. Listen, we knew that part was coming at some point, right? So then Khonshu wants to build an army to march to Wakanda to take them down and to get the vibranium. And by the reaction of the crowd, it seems that he's won over a lot of followers over to his cause. Now, what Khonshu did not realize is that the Black Panther, T'Challa, was also a part of the crowd that he was giving this speech to. When he gets out of there, though, we see him telling Shuri that he's seen what he needs to see. He now understands that Khonshu is making this a jihad, which is translated, I believe, to a holy war. So then Shuri acknowledges how the people think Moon Knight is a demigod, to which T'Challa says it's because he's answering their prayers, and how Wakanda has failed these people and now they are learning to hate us. So then Shuri wants the Black Panther to come back, but instead T'Challa can feel the urge to strike. The urge he feels is coming from his suit, as if his suit wants him to engage in an attack. So pretty much he's kind of becoming one with the suit here, which of course now he feels more connected to this vibranium, of course, because of all the recent activities. So Shuri is able to talk him out of it, but for now, the Black Panther complies with her. So on another note here, we finally pick up on the journey that Killmonger and Storm are currently leading. Now, back in issue number 7, as I mentioned, the Black Panther had asked them to go on a quest to find someone who is both mystic and scientist to bring them back to Wakanda in order to figure out the mysteries of vibranium. And back at the end of issue number 8, they met with this guy, and I say meet lightly because they jacked this dude up. And he was the one that told them that the person that they are looking for is the Sorcerer Supreme. So that lands them both here out in Eastern Europe at an unknown location. Now, they think they're going on a rescue mission here to get the sorcerer. So at first, they're trying to like plan things out tactically to take out the guy on top of the roof, and then the guards that are at the ground level here. So then Storm handles the guy up top, naturally, and then Killmonger handles the ones that are on the ground. Now, interestingly enough here, when they get to the front of the building, they realize that there are no cameras that are here. So Storm is like, listen, why record events at a place that's not supposed to exist? So then Killmonger is like, there are some exposed vents in the back of the building. Let's go in through there. But Storm, who apparently is in the mood today, decides that shock and awe is the way that she would like to go. But then someone steals her thunder, no pun intended, because those same men who have their faces blurred, by the way, a bunch of them get thrown out of the building through the building's glass. And then Killmonger recognizes one of the men. Now his face is not blurred, and his name is Donald Heimstedler, who is a torture doctor for hire, which now leaves them wondering like what could have killed these people. And as they head to go through the front door, we see more men flying out of the building. Now this time, though, a little more ground level is where they're being thrown. Now, as they start walking down the corridor here, they see a slew of men laying on the floor. Now, once again here, I'm using the word laying lightly, which makes Storm wonder whether or not they should even be setting this person free. The next sound that they hear is a creepy loud laugh that's coming from below where they are. So Storm tells Killmonger to take her hand. Now, as she ushers both of them to the area and then blasts through the door, as they walk a little bit further down there, they hear a voice that says, "You're not supposed to be here, are you, friend?" So Killmonger says, "Well, we would like to be. We bring opportunity." So the voice replies, "I don't believe you," and then continues to say, "I think you might be trouble people." So Killmonger's like, "Listen, we came here because we heard what you could do, and now someone useful wants your help." So the voice replies, "Help. I've been here for 3 years and I needed help. Tonight, I figured out a way to help myself." So then Storm makes a statement about how their help has violence in it. So the voice finds it a little bit ironic considering the history of both Killmonger and Storm. Now, when they finally get to the door where this person is, they see a man's body that is being used like a puppet. His voice is saying, "Aurora Monroe and Eric Killmonger, you're far from home." So then Killmonger questions if this is a sorcerer, not realizing that the sorcerer is just using this person as their voice. What the voice says is that they've made it very hard to speak here, but this person got close enough to hear her whisper, which is when she took control of him. Then the voice goes on to say, "Magic needs speech, you see. My captors knew that, and this puppet will only last so long. And in my anger, I might have killed the other ones. I lose myself sometimes." And then continues, "You want my help? The old abracadabra? Hee hee hee. Well, I want something too. Quid pro quo. Come on in." So then Eric, he makes it a little bit further on while Storm is like, "No, don't do that." But he's like, "Listen, stay here, Aurora. I got this." And when he finally gets inside, he is shocked what he sees. He's like, "Goddess." But then the voice continues, "Little old me? Nah, I just know the ways of above and below, and you're here about the vibranium. Y'all don't know what it really is, but you do stink of it. I'd love to have a conversation about it with you, Eric. Easy to make this fella talk, hard to make him do strong things. You look strong. I've done about all I can with my whispers. Why don't you swagger over here and take off this gag?" So here we see the reveal here of the new Sorcerer Supreme, or the ultimate Sorcerer Supreme here in this universe. Most likely, I'm assuming that whatever is holding her down here, most likely it's the people from the Maker's Council that set this up and arranged it so that she's currently here. Now, I know some people might be upset here with the gender swap aspect of this, but honestly, I'm gonna let them cook, because she looks really badass and probably a little bit more sadistic than probably Doctor Strange really is from the main universe here. So I'm looking forward to see what they do here with the rest of the story right now. These last 2 issues here were very good storytelling in my personal opinion, and I always like some good stories here. What did you think about this comic? Leave it down below in the comments. Like and subscribe for more here on the channel. Hit the notification bell. Join our Discord as well so that you can keep up to date with us outside. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' the Comic. Bye.